Hello guys, how you going? I hope you guys are all well. Today I'm going to dive into a topic that I know that we're all passionate about here, which is colouring books. And if you're anything like me, choosing the perfect colouring book is pretty overwhelming because there's so much out there to choose from. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through every colouring book that I own. So my entire collection. I'll be showing my honest likes and dislikes about each book and having a super quick flip through, but I won't be spending too long on each book. I'll just be doing like a really quick overview of each book, just so you can get through kind of like a bit of a colouring shopping channel, and you can choose what you like, what you don't like, and what you want to spend your hard-earned money on. So I'm just going to hop straight into it. I'm not going to do them in any order, so you might find that I've got authors at the beginning and authors at the end of the video that are the same. But what I've done is I've just grabbed everything out of my cupboard, which is in no particular order. My cupboard is a mess, and plopped them on my desk, and I'm just going to go through them. And if you have any questions on any of these books, where I got them from, anything about them, just let me know in the comments below and I will get back to you. Okay. Let's start off with this Korean book I've got called Strange Bottle Encyclopedia Colouring Book by Dom Doming. I love this book. I love that it's a hardcover. It's a really, really nice size as well. It's not too big. The paper is amazing and really, really, really thick. The pictures are one-sided as well, which is great. So you can use anything you like on it and not have to worry about it going through. The illustrations are very unique, very different. They're pieces of artwork, really. And if you've noticed when I've been flipping through them, they do have a double images of each picture. So you can practice on one, and it does have a perforation here. So you can cut that out if you don't want it, and then you can keep the other one in the book, which is an amazing idea. The only dislike I have about this book is that they have the coloured images directly next to your colouring image. Some people that's a plus for, but for me it's a negative because I don't like seeing it. It kind of puts me off making a different colour palette than the colour palette that's on here. So that's the only negative about this book. Apart from that, it's a really great book. This is a Chinese book called Perhaps It's Been Years. My likes about this is it's a great size. It's that beautiful smaller size again. It's not so large. And there is a lot of images to colour in this book. The illustrations are beautiful, and it has a really beautiful story running through. So it's a story of a couple who are in love and they keep going away from each other and then meeting up again over the years. The pictures are just phenomenal. Now, my only dislike is that it has really, really, really bad paper. Very bad paper. Basically, the only thing you can use on this paper is pencils. That's it. You can't use anything else. As you can see here, you can actually see the image underneath. That's how thin it is. So it doesn't feel too bad, but when you colour on it, you can't really use much on it. But that's okay. I don't regret getting it because it is a really lovely book. So I've got Wild Soul by Grazio Salvo. This is a beautiful book. Just letting you know, this is the Amazon copy. You can buy a copy from her Etsy store, and I'm sure the paper and the quality is completely different from this one. But I really like the images in this book. That is one of my biggest likes. They are really beautiful images. And also it's one-sided. So you can use whatever medium you want, and you don't have to worry about it going through to the back page or the back picture. Now, my negatives are, this is an Amazon papered book. So you will get that Amazon paper, which is not great. And also, I do like grayscale, but I feel like this is very heavy grayscale. So it kind of takes over your colouring in slightly. But apart from that, it is a wonderful book. Time Garden by Daria Song. My likes, The images are stunning, and all Daria songbooks images are always stunning. I love how there's a story running through it. I always like it when there's a story running through books. And the paper is really great. It is printed double-sided, but the paper can take a lot of water medium. There is sections in it that I don't love that have got prompts, like things like this that says, draw your own room through the window and things like that. I don't really love that sort of thing. But apart from that, an absolutely beautiful book. Got a Colouring Heaven issue, a colourful adventure storybook special by Jash Lee. The pictures in here are absolutely stunning. I really like every image. I want to colour everyone in. The story that runs through it is really beautiful as well. It's about a girl and her wolf that she meets and becomes really good friends with. My dislikes is it is a Colouring Heaven book and the paper's not fantastic. So the fact that it is one-sided is more or less essential, I'd say, for using this book. But apart from that, it's a beautiful book, and I think I can forgive that bad paper for how amazing this book is. Next is Fairy Tales by Emily Liderhole Oberg. And I like a lot in this book. I like all the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal. It's actually quite different. Her style is a lot different from other colouring book artists. The paper is really nice and thick, and you can use lots of medium on it without worrying about it going through to the back page. So dislikes on this book is absolutely nothing. It's fantastic, and I would buy this over and over again. Now we've got this little mini book called Reptiloids 2. I love the little size of this book. It's a perfect size if you want to take it traveling or go on a plane or something like that. All the images are one-sided, so you can use those alcohol markers once again. And I like the style of the images. They're quite sketchy looking. And even though the book is all about these little reptiloids, they're not repetitive either. So you don't have to worry about getting bored colouring them in because there's lots of different images in there. Dislike is, once again, that horrible Amazon paper. I think that's just something we need to deal with because lots of the amazing books are on that Amazon paper. It's frustrating, but it's something that will always be, I think. Now we've got A Walk in Eden by Anders Nielsen. I like the paper in this book. It's really, really nice and thick. The illustrations in here are very unique. Very different. My main dislike in this one is that in the centre, it has got a pull-out. I can get to it. So just here, it's got a pull-out that comes out, and it makes this image super long. And I don't think I would ever colour that because it would take me years. I just don't have the patience. But apart from that, it's a great book, something really different, and I actually enjoy collaging in my colouring book, so this is a perfect for that because it's a perfect platform to jump off because it starts a bit weird and it's going to end a bit weird. Akira, The Guardian of the Spirits by Lainey Deo. I like the size of this book. It's a very tiny little square, and I always like those size books. I think they're just really nice to colour in. The artwork is actually quite unusual, which I like as well. It's something a little bit different. I actually enjoy the thick lines in these artworks. I find that quite relaxing to colour in thick lines. And dislike, same as always, that terrible Amazon paper. But apart from that, a really beautiful book. Then we've got Hairballs by Diane Defoe. So you're going to have, there's lots of little pieces of paper in this because I have coloured in it quite a lot. Because I really love this small size again, and it's a square. It's 17 centimetres by 17 centimetres, which I just think is a perfect size just to put on your lap and colour in while you're watching telly. It has a lot of pages to colour in. It's got over 100 illustrations. And they're all super cute. The pictures are all very joyful and happy. And one of my favourite things is that this book has people, but you can never see their faces. And I hate colouring in faces. So every time it shows a person with their animal, you can't see their face, which makes me super happy and definitely gives this book a tick for me. The paper is also fantastic. It doesn't bleed through. I've used all types of medium on this and water medium, and I have never had any problems at all with it bleeding through. Maybe a tiny little bit here like that, but not much at all. So the dislikes for this, I don't really have any. I'd say my only dislike for this is that it got me addicted to it. I literally couldn't put this down for about a month, and that's why there's so much coloured in there. But that is a pretty good dislike in my book. We have Tanglewood by Jessica Palmer. One of my major likes in this one is the size. Again, it's a square. I must just like squares. It's a little bit bigger than the other one, but it is still a smaller colouring book. Just be careful if you are looking for this and buying it. It does come in two sizes. So it does come in this small size here, but it also does come in a bigger size, which is more like an A4 size. So just make sure if you are buying it and you are looking for the smaller size, that you make sure you order the right one. The paper is amazing in here. I haven't had any problems colouring on the paper whatsoever. And the images are really unique. They're quite Zentangly, and I, to be honest, I'm not a fan of Zentangly, but they're very, like, not repetitive, which is really the main problem with me with Zentangle images. I would have to say that the one dislike in this book, or actually there's two dislikes in this book, is there's a lot of open space. So there is quite a few pages that will just have like lots of backgrounds, like they have a border around something, but then there's nothing inside the border, which is kind of weird. It's like this here. So there's a border, but there's nothing inside the border, which I find quite odd. And I also don't like the books that have, so this book here has one of those, the hidden objects. So it has all these hidden through it somewhere. So there's one up here. I just find that's really annoying when you're trying to colour in and the object doesn't really fit in anywhere, and you have to kind of just see here, just make it fit in. So that's the only two dislikes about this book, but it is a very different and beautiful book. Then we've got Secret Worlds by Karen Sue Chen. The images are very, very cute in this book. I think this one will appeal to little kids as well as older adults. And the lines are really thick, which I love as well. But once again, it's that Amazon paper. And my other like is the cover. It sounds really weird, but it just feels beautiful. I don't know what it is. I can just touch it all day. The Best of the Beauty of Horror by Alan Roberts. My main likes in this is the paper. The paper in here is really lovely and thick. And I like that it's a compilation of 6 of Alan Roberts' other books. I don't own any of these other books in here, so it's perfect for me. I guess maybe if you own a couple of his other books, it might be repeating the images from there, which would be quite annoying. But for me, it's perfect because I don't. And I just love horror themed things. So the theme for me is really spot on to the things that I like to colour in. I'd say dislikes with this one is none. I don't have any dislikes in this one. Circle of Life by Melponi Chatsipani Giawatu. And I have lots of likes with this one. I really like how the illustrations are extremely detailed, which is something I don't usually like. But although they're extremely detailed, because the lines are so thick, they're actually quite easy to colour. When I coloured in this book for the first time, I thought I'd find it really difficult, but they're actually really nice and relaxing to colour. The paper's great, and I really like how the images are circular because you don't really see that in many books. And on the dislike side, I have none for that book. The Garden of Earthly Delights by Adriana Picker. And I'd say my main like for this one is the paper. It's got this really nice thick paper, and it has got quite a rough surface as well, which is really nice. I haven't coloured this in yet because it's not really my thing. I did get this from a secondhand shop, and when I got home and had a good look through it, the images seem to be quite repetitive for me. So that's definitely one of my main dislikes in this, is that there is a lot of images that are quite similar and repetitive. Also a lot of open space. So I'm not really a fan of too much open space like that. I might actually end up selling this book. I have recently found out that this is quite hard to get a hold of. I'm not really loving it, and there might be people out there that really want it. Little Dolls by Capucine Savignon. And the main likes in this are the sketchy images. The images are beautiful. So they're Disney images of Disney characters, but all when they were really little. So they're just really fantastic and cute. The paper is absolutely amazing, and the images are one-sided as well, which obviously is fantastic, especially in, I like it when you get the images that are one-sided in a book that has amazing paper, because you don't get that often. It gives you complete freedom of using lots of different mediums. And on my dislikes for this one, nothing really. I really enjoy it. Love Letters by Momo Girl. I like that this is a hardcover. Hardcovers always win me over. I also like that this has the examples of the colour pages at the front of the book. So it gives you a little bit of inspiration as to what you would like. But they are not directly next to the picture. So it doesn't, you can have a good look at it, and then you can go and colour your own in without constantly seeing this different colour than what you're doing beside you, and it puts you off. The artwork is beautiful. It's all girls, and it's just really pretty. Paper, again, is lovely and thick in this one, and it's single-sided. Like I was saying, you don't get that often. The paper's very smooth. It's like cardstock. And dislikes, I have nothing for that one. Alien Worlds by Kirby Rosannes. Most people would have seen this book because there's a lot of groups about colouring in this book. I like the concept of this book. So I like how it's broken into 10 different worlds. And so it's kind of like 10 different chapters, and each different chapter will have images from that world. So I like that. I like how that concept runs through the book. The paper is really, really great. Really, really nice paper to colour on. My main dislike is that most of the pages are double page spreads, and they are also so detailed to start with. If you chuck in that it's a double-sided spread, it's just going to take a very long time to colour, and I'm not that patient. Maybe if I colour some in and leave them as whips and come back, it might be okay, but not as an all-in-one spread getting it done. Labyrinth, which is a mythographic book. This one's by Joseph Catabang. Main like in here is the paper is spectacular. The images are really beautiful. Like every image is really stunning. And I actually really like how the pictures are bordered. I like sometimes having my picture with a border around it so you know where your background's going to start and finish. Also, it's one-sided, which once again, one-sided on amazing paper is a definite plus. The Unofficial Horror Movie Colouring Book by Andy Price. I got lots of likes about this one. I really like the theme. I love horror movies, so this is definitely my jam. And the way that Andy Price has illustrated the pictures are so good. It's very comic-y style. The paper is great. And once again, this is a book that's got the amazing paper, but is also one-sided. Angela Harding colouring book by Angela Harding. Now with my likes with this, it is very different. I think that's my main like. Angela Harding is a print artist, so she actually does lino cut prints. So that's why the images are so different. So the actual lino cut prints before she added any colour to them. The paper is very nice and thick and really nice to use. And it's just very unique and different. I've not actually seen a colouring book that is of lino prints. It's a very different way of colouring in. And then it also, like at the back, she does have her completed images or her completed artwork that the colouring pictures are taken from. So for a tiny little bit of inspiration. And dislikes in that one, I don't have any. The Shocking Horror Colouring Book by Juan Calais and Santiago Calais. I really like the horror concept in this book. The paper's okay, it's not the best, but it is one-sided, so you can kind of get away with that a little bit. It's also quite a thick book. There are a lot of images. My dislike is that the illustrations in here are definitely a bit hit and miss for me. I really enjoy about half of these illustrations and half I'm not too much of a fan of. And I think that might be because it's got two different illustrators that have done this book. And obviously their styles are slightly different and I must like one of their styles a lot more than the other. But because it's so thick and got so many pages that I can kind of look past that. Jasmine Beckett Griffith colouring book. This has got beautiful paper and the images are super pretty. Her artwork's beautiful, those beautiful big eyes. Also, it is one-sided again with that beautiful paper. My dislike though is that I do feel that, you can probably see as me flipping through, the illustrations are quite repetitive. I think because it's always that same face and those same big eyes with the eyelashes, it just becomes quite repetitive, I think. And when you look at it, it's just like you're colouring in the same picture and over again. But apart from that, it's a very beautiful book. And we have another issue of Colouring Heaven, Native American Mythology Special by Jody Berksma. I like the style of the illustrations, but I do think that they will be super tricky to colour in. So if you have a look, you can see the line work is quite difficult to see what you're going to colour in. It's just tricky, but I think it'll be fun because it's something different. It's not like the same usual line work that you know what to follow. You can maybe add your own flair, and I think if you coloured in with some watercolours, if it allow you, because one of my dislikes about this one again is Amazon paper, so it's not the best. But you could definitely do some beautiful things, and the pictures are very, very pretty. Then we have The Mischievous Mind by Melissa Nikolic. The paper in here is really great and thick as well. Images are one-sided, and the images are very quirky and cute. My main dislike about this book is that it does have quite a few images just like this that are just shapes, and that's really not something that I am into colouring in, and probably will just get left blank. But there is quite a lot of nice images to make up for those ones. And some of these cactuses are quite repetitive as well. There's quite a lot of them. And see, this is the shapes with there's got words in there. That's definitely not what I'm into. But apart from that, it is a good book, and I think there's plenty of nice images in there that will make up for those not so good ones. Morning Scribbles Colouring Book number 2 by Chris Ryanak. The illustrations in here are beyond cute. I really like the illustrations in here. I like that they're grayscale, but they're not too grayscale, so they don't take over your image. It's just a really light grayscale, and it's really sketchy, so I like that style. The pages are one-sided, and I find that these pictures are very easy and relaxing to colour. This book would also appeal to younger kids as well as adults. Once again, though, my dislike is it is good old Amazon paper. Shooting Star by Maria Trolle. First big like, hardcover, always wins me over. Second big like, absolutely gorgeous images. And my other third like is always this beautiful paper that she has in her books. So this really does tick every box for me. And it's a really nice size too. It's not too big and it's not small. It's just that medium size. Some of the images are bordered, which I like, and some of the images aren't bordered as well. So you've got a mixture of images in there. And they're just very pretty, whimsical images. Mystica by Heron Publishing. My likes with this one is that the pages are one-sided and the paper is very thick. It's like a cardstock. My dislikes on this one is that the images are super hit and miss for me. There's probably not that many images that I like. It seems that it's got lots of different illustrators and maybe even some stock images in there. I'm not 100% sure, but it does look like that to me. I like this illustrator, but I don't really like any other of the illustrators in there. So it's a bit of a tough one for me. I'd probably say this would not be a rebuy for me. Forest Animal Mandalas by Joshua Dunbar. I really like the images in here. They're definitely a different take on mandalas. I do not like mandalas. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not a fan, but these are very nice and not so repetitive, and I actually enjoy these ones. They're very cute. It's also one-sided, which is great. Unfortunately, it is on Amazon paper, but I think I can let that pass on this one because it is a beautiful book. Magical World by Eric Barrett. I really like the images in here. I find them to be very unique. They're very fantastical. I also like that this book is divided into different worlds or different chapters. And so there'll be a water world, a forest world, a sky world. The pages are also single-sided. But my main dislike on this one is the Amazon paper. But apart from that, the images are fantastic. To be honest, I don't know if this is in print anymore. I have heard it's quite hard to get hold of. Tarot Colouring by Alexis E. Thompson. I like that this is a single-sided book again, and it has got quite nice paper. It's quite thick. The illustrations are very pretty, and I do love the theme of the book. I love that tarot theme. They're quite intricate images, but I have found that they're not too bad if you actually look quite close to them. No dislikes for that one. Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. The size is a big like for me in this one. It's a really nice size. Once again, that hardcover. The paper is amazing in this. Everyone knows that Hannah Carlson books always have beautiful paper, and you can just use whatever medium you want on it, and you're not going to be worried at all about it going through to the other page on the back. The images are also just very beautiful, and I do find that this has a bit of variety, so you might find that some of Hannah Carlson's books don't have too much of a variety, but I find that this one does have quite a bit of variety in the type of illustrations that are in it. And the dislike on this one is nothing. Another Maria Trolle book, which is Universe. This is a compilation book of quite a few of her other books. Luckily, I've only got one of those books, so I didn't really have too many repeats in there. But the paper is beautiful, and they do have some originals in here as well that aren't in the other books, which kind of makes it a plus to buy it if you do have a few of her other books. It also says at the bottom down here what book each image is from, which is really nice. But they're very pretty images. Quite a mixture because it's a compilation of all her different books. There is a lot of variety in there. Once again, this paper is amazing. You basically can use anything on it and it's not going to go through, except obviously alcohol markers. And another hardcover. So dislikes on this one, absolutely none. Spooky by Sarah Seswick. I really like the small size of this book. It's one of those smaller books again. They're not super small, they're just a little bit smaller than the A4, which I like a lot better to colour in. It doesn't seem to take as long. So in this book, the paper is amazing. Really great, really nice thick cardstock. It's also one-sided, which is fantastic once again. The images are beautiful. They're very, very cute. Very whimsical, about this little cat and all his friends. They're really nice thick black lines as well, which I like. And I do like also how they've got the information on the other side as to what the picture is. To be honest, I don't really have any dislikes at all about this book. I really like it. I haven't had much time to colour in it, and I wish I could do some more, but it is a very cute book. The illustrations are just stunning. They're all of this little girl and her little dog, and they are beautiful. The only dislike I have about this is that it does have that coloured image on the opposite page. But apart from that, it is an absolutely beautiful book. Dream Reese by Maria Trolle. Main likes about this book, once again, it's a beautiful hardcover. It's got the single-sided images, and it does have the beautiful paper that Maria Trolle's books have, but this one seems to be a little bit thicker. This is like a bit of an artist edition, so it does have the single-sided images as well, but the images are beautiful in here. I really like that there's a story running through it as well. It's all about this girl as she goes through her journey in her dreams. I just love all the little forest animals in there. They're very whimsical. Another gorgeous book. We have another Colouring Heaven edition, which is the Grimm Fairy Tale Special by Nelke Shoemaker. I really like the variety of images in this edition. Of course, once again, because it's Colouring Heaven, it is single-sided. With my dislikes on this one is, once again, just that Colouring Heaven paper. But the images are really pretty. Woodland Watercolour, a colouring book by Claire Therese Gray. This is a beautiful colouring book if you are really interested in learning watercolour. So right at the front of this book, I love how it has the tips here and the supplies that you need to start watercolouring. Quite a few good tips about colouring in the images as well. It's a great size once again. It's a little smaller than A4. The paper is fantastic. It's 200 GSM watercolour paper. So like I said, perfect for watercolour in here. Single-sided as well, so it doesn't matter how much water you use. I have noticed through some of it that it does warp slightly, but not a huge heap. And the images are beautiful. A super pretty book, and like I said, if you're wanting to learn watercolour, it's a great way to practice in here. And dislikes on that one, absolutely none. And this is a Korean book. Once again, it's a hardcover and that beautiful size. The illustrations in here are really pretty. And what I do like in here is I like this brown print. I like it that it's not that deep black. I like how it's like a browny, purpley print. The paper's nice. It's very smooth once again. And I do like that it's one-sided. But it does have what I don't like, those pictures on the opposite side. With the double page spreads, it has the pictures on in front of it, and then you get the whole double page spread, and I like that. A Million Dogs by Lulu Mayo. Lulu Mayo's books are quite small again, so this is a nice book, nice size book. The pictures are super, super cute. This one's beautiful. It's very sketchy and gorgeous. But obviously all the pictures are about dogs. The paper's okay in this book. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible either. One thing I don't like is I do seem to find these images are a bit hit and miss for me. This is one of Lulu Mayo's older books, so you can see the illustrations have changed quite a lot in her new work. And I do like her new work better, but I still do find this quite cute. Tales from the City Among the Stars by Hannah Carlson. The size of this is, once again, perfect for me. Beautiful hardcover book. And it is a series. So Hannah Carlson does have a series of books that are called Tales From, and there's all different editions that go into that series. And they are the smaller size like this. The paper, once again, is superb. You can never complain about Hannah Carlson's paper. It is absolutely beautiful to use. All different mediums go well on it. The illustrations in this are amazing. I love this dystopian theme in this one. I know that there's many colorists that didn't actually like this edition, but I really do like this dystopian theme. I think it's great. And I don't have any dislikes in this one. I think it's just amazing. Atelier of Witch Hat Colouring Book by Kamomi Shirahami. And this is one of my all-time favourites. I love it. The paper in here is absolutely amazing. It's really, really thick cardstock. And the images are just divine. They're also one-sided. And they are just beautiful. I haven't actually coloured in this book, so I'm very intimidated. I don't want to ruin it since it's just one of my favourite books. But the pictures in here are so good. And you can see as I flip how thick that paper is. It's amazing. And then it's not a hard cover, but the cover is very, very hard. It's really hard cardstock. So obviously this is one of my favourite books ever. It's not going to have any dislikes, but if you're looking for a book that's just stunning, this is a good bet. Cat General Store and the Magic Key. This is another beautiful book. I like at the beginning of this book how it does show you some of the completed images and some tips on how to colour as well and how to use coloured pencil. And once again, this is that beautiful brown kind of purpley print. I do quite like the size of this book, and I like how it's like a landscape instead of vertical. Most books are actually vertical shape instead of a landscape shape, so I do enjoy that. The images are so cute. This is another one of the books that would appeal to young kids as well as adults. The Night Voyage by Daria Song. The images in here are stunning, just like Daria Song's other book. Very complicated, but very beautiful. I also like that this one does have a story running through it as well. They're very, very pretty. images. I'd say the only dislike I have about this one is that there are quite a few wallpaper images, and I don't really like colouring in repetitive things like that. So that's something I would just never colour in. There's a few other ones as well that are wallpaper images, like this one here. So apart from that, it's a beautiful book and has beautiful paper as well. I'm going to do these two books by David Haben together. They're both by the same publisher, so the paper is the same. So when I speak about the paper, I won't repeat myself, but just know that it is the same between both books. So I will start off with The Explorer's Journey, and I really like the thick line work in these books. Now, this book is super cool because it starts, there's a story that runs through it. There's two stories that run through it, actually. And one starts from the beginning and goes through, and one starts from the back and goes through. And then when you get to the middle, both stories meet. So the two explorers meet up. So it's about two explorers' journey and they meet up in the middle. The pictures are amazing, especially if you like colouring in like landscapey type of things. They're fantastic. And the paper is, to be honest, the best paper that I've ever had in any of my colouring books. It's super thick. It can take a lot of water. I haven't used any medium on it that doesn't work. And with this paper and then having the single-sided, it is an absolute dream. So that is The Explorer's Journey. And then we have The Search for the Lightbulb Burglar. So with this one, it also has a story running through it. And this is kind of a bit graphic novel-y, comic-y, the way this is done, which I really like. Images are fantastic once again, and they still have those really, really thick lines. And they're really nice to colour in. It's lovely to colour in a book that you have complete freedom with mediums, which is super special. So they are both spectacular books. A Million Monsters by Lulu Mayo. Now, this is one of Lulu Mayo's more recent books, so you'll be able to see the difference in the images from the Million Dogs book that I showed you. So this paper seems actually to be a little bit thicker also than the other book. So it's got quite nice paper, and once again, it's the smaller size, and the illustrations are very, very cute. And there is a lot to colour in on every page, but they're not super complicated. So you can see how different the images are from that dog book. And dislikes in this one, I don't have any dislikes for this one. The Beauty of Horror Tarot by Alan Roberts. I love the size of this book. It's actually a really nice size. When I've been traveling, I always take this book, especially on the plane. It's just a great size to fit inside your bag. It is super thick. It has about 78 images to colour in there, which is a lot. And the paper is absolutely fantastic. And it's one-sided. I love the illustrations. They are super freaky, and I like that. I think it's just me. That's the sort of thing I like colouring in. And I do like how they're in a little frame as well, so they don't take long to colour in at all, and they're really enjoyable to colour in. I'll just have a quick flip through just so you can see. Let me go from this side. But they have all the tarot cards in there. So you can actually get the tarot cards, this deck of tarot cards, which are fully coloured. You can actually buy the actual deck, but this is just the colouring book of it. So that is a really good book if you want a book for traveling. Spirit Animals by Hannah Carlson. Once again, Hannah Carlson's books, beautiful paper, amazing to colour on. You couldn't go past Hannah Carlson's paper to colour on. I really like the concept of this book. It's about each person with their spirit animal. And, of course, Hannah Carlson, so it's hardcover. My only dislike about this book is that every page is literally a double page spread, which, like I said, I'm not a fan of double page spreads. I must say, when you finish a double page spread, it is a sense of achievement, but just like buckling down and doing it just puts me off. So even though they are single pages and not a spread as such, you have to colour them in similar because they work together. Very beautiful book. That's the only dislike I have about this book. Colour Me Enchanted by Masha Dianes and Gala Lazou. The pictures in here are very unique. So this book is about all different fairy tales around the world, and the pictures are just drawn in a very unique way. It's beautiful. I haven't actually coloured in any pictures in this book before, but I have seen other colourists that have coloured these pictures in, and they look stunning coloured in. The paper's okay. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. You could probably put some satin glazing liquid or something like that over the top and use water medium if you wanted to. I don't know how it would go without that though. So no dislikes on that one. Really beautiful book. Another Colouring Heaven issue, Dark Doll Special by Yuriko Shiro, and I absolutely love the illustrations in here. They are extremely creepy, but at the same time extremely beautiful, if that is possible. And you'll see what I mean when you look at them. They are just amazing. So once again, it is that really terrible Creative Haven paper. And I even have a feeling that this one is thinner than the other ones. Yuko Higuchi's Magic Colouring Museum. I think the images in here are absolutely amazing. They're just like artworks. I love that it has different coloured backgrounds. I think that's really cute. I don't see many books like that. How amazing are these images though? Just beautiful. It has, I haven't coloured in it yet because once again I'm intimidated. I don't want to ruin it. But the paper seems quite thick. I don't know how you'd go with water medium. I think you'd want to stick to pencils, but it's not really bad. I also love that when you get to the front of here, the very front has got this really cool like wax paper. So on here it's shiny and on here it's not shiny. It's got some grit. So that's shiny and that's grit. So just something a little bit different at the beginning of the book, which I think is pretty cool. This one also has a story running through it, which I like, as you know. And then at the back here, it does have some little tips on how to colour in, which I love as well. So if I had to pick a dislike with that one, I definitely could not. So that's that one. Doming's World Fairy Tale Colouring Book by Dom Doming. This is another stunning book. And I really like this book because it is very unique. I like how they have these images at the front so you can have a look what they look like when they're finished. Obviously, don't like that they have the images right beside the pictures as well. It's a bit weird why they have them in the front and beside the pictures. But the actual images are very, very unique, the way that they're drawn. His drawing style is really different. It reminds me of someone's sketchbook, like it's a sketchbook style. The paper's amazing, really, really nice, and one-sided, of course, so you can use whatever you like in here. Lunar Colouring by Strata Peterson. And these are very beautiful images again. Single-sided. The paper's okay in this book. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible. I do like a lot of these images, but some of them I do find they are very detailed, like this one here. And when you look really close, the details are very small. It's probably something that I wouldn't attempt or don't want to colour in. But then again, there's these beautiful ones like this. So it's a bit of a mishmash of images. Like this here, I probably wouldn't colour in that. So some really stunning stuff and some stuff that I wouldn't colour. But definitely something I would buy again because the images that I do like are beautiful. Saga och Sagna by Emily Ladehall Oberg. Once again, it is a hardcover, and these images are just stunning. Just like her other book, the Fairy Tales book, the images in here are amazing. I love her style of artwork. The paper, once again, is the same paper as the other book, and it's really nice and thick and can take all different mediums. I definitely do not have any dislikes on this one. Dark Fairy Tales by Crook Crook. I really like this book. It's got a really cool concept behind it. So the way it's done is it's fairy tales. It's broken into different fairy tales, and it's got about 4 to 5 pictures on each fairy tale, like telling a story, but it is a twisted fairy tale. So the fairy tale has been made quite dark and scary and creepy. And the images are beautiful. The images are really easy to colour in, and the lines are really nice and thick, which I like. I think that this line work works really well with markers. And because they are single-sided images, you can use markers. The only bummer about this one is, once again, it is that Amazon paper. The Curse of the Vampire Robot by Graham Base. So before I go through this one, just letting you know that this actually isn't a colouring book. This is a kid's storybook, but I really enjoyed the pictures in here, so I thought I'm going to turn it into a colouring book for myself. So it does have a hardcover. The paper's kind of weird because obviously it's not a colouring book, so they haven't made the paper to colour on. It's very smooth, but it does take mediums really well. So with this one here, this is all done with pencils, ink pens, and Posca pens. So, and there's a little bit of collage in there as well. So it does turn out quite well on the paper, and there's no bleed through either. And the images are just very cute. That's just a testing page. So you can see I've tested lots of different things on there, and the paper isn't really too bad, and only a couple of things have bled through. Colourful Time by Googly. I'm just going to put it out there that this is my all-time favourite book, so I'm not going to have anything bad to say about this. It is amazing. The illustrations are literally pieces of art in here. The paper is this really thick kind of watercolory cardstock, but it is a bit funny when you use watercolor on it. You need to really get used to using it. But the illustrations are just stunning, and there is a variety of illustrations in here. So we've got this like traditional stuff here, and then at the back you have more of this kind of thing. So a lot of variety with the illustrations. And also when you get the book, it does come with this pull out here. It's like a big spread. And it shows all of the pictures inside the book, but finished, like the actual artwork. So another plus. Absolutely stunning book. And I really do need to get the other 2 books in this series. Spirit Animal Colouring Book by Raven Fellin. This is another one that's got beautiful paper, and I really, really like the images in here. They are very mythical. That's beautiful. They're very mythical. But the only thing that puts me off a little bit about this one is that they do have some strange lines in them. So it's a bit hard to know where to, say this one here, it's a bit hard to know where to colour, what lines to follow. But I think that also gives you a bit more freedom of how you want to express the page. The paper's quite nice. It's quite thick. And the illustrations are one-sided as well, so that's great. See here, you've seen I've used watercolour, and to be honest, I did use a lot of water on this page. I used the wet on wet, and it has buckled quite a lot. But I think I could probably iron that, but it definitely hasn't ruined the paper or balled up at all. So that's another beautiful book. I will do these 3 books together. Escape to Oz, Escape to Wonderland, and Escape to Shakespeare World. These are all by Good Wives and Warriors. They're all this amazing, beautiful little square size, which I absolutely love. And to be honest, the paper is the same in all books, and it is divine. The only difference is Escape in Oz seems to have white, like bright white paper. And the Escape to Shakespeare World and Wonderland seems to have like a bit of a beigey paper, which I don't mind. I quite like that. That's the only difference in their paper, but the actual paper quality is superb. So let's go through each individual book just so we can have a look. The images in all the books are very unique and different. Good Wives and Warriors have a very unique way of drawing. They are double-sided, which is fine because the paper is quite thick. Like, and just the concept of having a colouring book about Shakespeare it's different. Escape to Oz. So this is obviously about Wizard of Oz. And Escape to Wonderland. So they all do have the story running through them written. And there's quite a different variety of images as well. Definitely enough to keep you interested, so you wouldn't go through and do one page and then get into another page that's the same. They are very different. So all three of those colouring books are beautiful books and a really, really great size. Colour Me Capybaras by Ella Jazabak. These pictures are so cute. They are, look at that, absolutely amazing. It literally is one of the cutest books I've ever seen. The paper is okay. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible. But the images are single-sided, so that's a plus. It does have heaps of images in here. It has about 100 images in here, so definitely enough to keep you busy. The only negative I have about this is that the images do seem to become quite repetitive. But if you can deal with that, it's fine. And there is so many images, that's probably why it feels quite repetitive. But a very beautiful book. Pop Manga Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures by Camilla de Erico. This might look different because I have taken off the dust jacket that's on there. So it's usually a white dust jacket with a picture on it. The paper in this book is great. I really like colouring on the paper. And the images are beautiful and sketchy. I really like Camilla de Erico's artwork. The one thing that I'm not a big fan of is the backgrounds. I'll get to a page and we'll show you. So these ones are all good. I'm fine with these, but I don't like these like floating images on a background. So like she has lots of just the floating images and then like she'll put like weird stuff around the background. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan of that. I rather like a full page image that actually like this sort of thing. That's not just like a floating head. But apart from that, that's just the back of my collaging. Apart from that, it is a beautiful book. Sirens du Monde, which is Sirens of the World by Diane Dufour. This is beautiful paper. These art therapy books always have really stunning paper and are mostly one-sided as well, the bigger ones. So this is one-sided. The images are very cute and easy to colour, and they're all very happy images. The only thing I find with this is that the images do get a bit repetitive. I guess it is a book about mermaids, so it is all mermaids. And mermaids live under the sea, so they have to be under the sea. But I do find if you've finished a page, you don't feel like you want to do another page in this same book because they are quite repetitive. Like straight away, like obviously you'll come back and do it, but I don't think I could finish a page and then the next day go and do another page in this book. So this isn't a book that I'd take traveling with me because it's not something that I'd want to keep working in straight after each other. But the pictures are beautiful. The Epic World of Tolkien colouring book. Now this book is a combination of two books. So it's a combination of Tolkien's World and the Bestiary of Tolkien, which are two separate colouring books, but they've decided to make it into one big colouring book, so it is super thick. So the images in here are stunning. The paper feels really nice. I haven't actually coloured in it yet because this is just a brand new book to me, but the pictures are great. There's lots of landscape stuff in here if you like landscape. I do find that there is some illustrations in here that are a bit of a miss for me, but most of them are definitely a hit. Obviously, it's done by quite a few different artists, and to be honest, I can't find the artist's name written anywhere in the book. So there's these ones here that I'm not really a fan of, but everything else I am. So the images that are like that, which there isn't too many of actually, I'm not a fan of, but I do like most of the images in here. So like these ones here really that's not something that I'm into, but all the other ones are great. So there's some super spooky things in here. So I think if you like these books or movies, you would really love this book. Definitely a great buy for the amount of images you get in here. Disney Stained Glass Colouring Book Volume 2. This is the only stained glass colouring book I've got, and I just wanted to get and try it to see how it is when you're colouring in, because I've seen other colourists and their pictures are great. The paper's okay in this, it's not too bad. It is quite large though, it's a bit bigger than an A4 size. But I do like the images in it. The only negative I do have about this is this here fell out. So I haven't actually had this for very long. It's quite a new book. This is the only picture I've coloured in it. And I did have it open wide so I could work on it. And this just popped out, which is really frustrating and annoying. I get quite annoyed when that happens. I'm thinking of just taking this out of the book completely because every time it's there, it irritates me. But hopefully they're not all like that, and hopefully I just got a dodgy one, but I'm not sure. So the images are quite cool, all different Disney movies and characters. Inklings by Tanya Boyd. Now the images in here are spectacular and I love them so much, but I do have quite a few dislikes about this book. So firstly, it's on Amazon paper, so it's not great. Secondly, it's kind of printed off. See, that's not printed in the middle. It's kind of printed off the edge. Like it's not, some of them are in the middle, but some of them aren't, and that really, really frustrates me. But the images are pretty. I really wish you could get this book in nicer paper. See, this one here is off edge, so it's right close to here, but then it's right far away from here. I just wish they'd just fill the whole page up with the image and then it would be a lot better. But it is a very pretty book. I just wish that the printing was better and that it was on better paper. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, a colouring book. This book is beautiful. I love the pictures in here. The paper is really good. I found the paper very, very nice to colour on. There is quite a few wallpaper pages that, as you know, I've said previously, I don't really like. And there is quite a few here, which puts me off a little bit. But I have thought about it, and I just think if there's a wallpaper page, it means that I'll feel free on the other side to maybe use alcohol markers or something like that, because I won't worry about ruining this side. But the ones that aren't wallpaper are stunning pictures. And I've never been a fan with the big writing, but I think it actually fits in well with these. See, that's another one I wouldn't colour. So at the back here, it does get into quite a few wallpapers, but the images that aren't wallpaper are beautiful. It's quite a big size. It is a little bit bigger than A4. And that's a wrap on my colouring book collection. I hope this video gave you a better idea of what these books are all about, what works, what doesn't work, and which ones might be the perfect colouring fit for you. If you've tried any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you have any recommendations for books for me, let me know too. I would love to know. Thanks very much, guys. Until next time, bye.